When it comes to managing your money, it's not just all about the budget. It's also about your mindset. So today, we're going to be sharing some false money beliefs that are killing your wealth. Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tasha with One Big Happy Life, and we help you find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want.
2020 is just around the corner, and we want it to be a year that you are building wealth. And like Tasha said, mindset is so important in taking the actions and supporting yourself enough to actually take the steps to build wealth. And so it's not all about knowing how to do it, but also having the willpower and the enthusiasm to get it done.
So today we want to talk about some of the thoughts that you might be telling yourself that are actually stopping you from building wealth. Starting with number one, I don't make enough money to save any money. That is just not true. Just about every person out there can save a little bit of money, whether it's a penny, 5 cents, a quarter. I know that you might want to scoff at those small amounts, but those things can add up. And in fact, Joseph has a change jar that he keeps up in our closet. And whenever he empties his pockets, and we don't even use cash that often, he would just drop, whether it's a dollar bill or like a penny or nickels in there. And over time, that would add up to like $100 extra that we would not have already otherwise had just because he was throwing that spare change in the jar.
Yeah, and I mean, it has taken a long time for me to get those increments every once in a while. But I take it to one of those stations and counts all the coins, and then I get like an Amazon gift certificate or something. But that just proves the point that it is possible to save something over time, even if it is quite a while.
Yeah, and back when I was not always like a lawyer or / business owner with a 6-figure salary. Once upon a time, I was a 19-year-old single mom making $14,000 a year. This was like right before I had Alexis. And I have always had a savings line item in my budget, and my minimum savings every single month was always $50. That was a threshold that I set way back when, living on $14,000 a year, trying to establish a household. And so what that meant is, yes, I had to make a lot of lifestyle adjustments so that $50, and it was an auto transfer too, automatically transferred to my savings. Would I end up spending it after a couple of months? Yes, but that was due to bad habits and planning, not because it was impossible for me to save. So I really want to challenge you to look at where you're spending and how you're spending, especially honestly, if you're making more than $40,000 or $50,000 a year, you should be able to set aside some amount of money, some small amount, $20, $40, $50 a month, every single month.
The second thing that you should definitely not believe in is that you can't make more money. Everybody can make more money. It's just about deciding that you want to make more money and then identifying the steps that you need to take to then make that money. And it might be making money from a couple of different angles. Maybe you just want to add a side hustle or something like that for just a little bit of extra cash. Or maybe you want to change careers. And, but you're thinking, no, I can't really change careers. I've been doing this for 10 years, and so I'm just stuck where I am. I can't make any more money. That is absolutely not true. There might be a period of time where you need to make an investment in yourself before you can then make the kind of money that you want. But that's a short period of time relative to your entire life. Maybe you do need to go back to school. Maybe you need some certification, some additional training, something like that, where you go through a period where you're not making quite as much even. But that is nothing compared to what you could be making over the rest of your life, which is why so many people, do go to college and do make those investments, and when it works out, when you can do that early on, that's great. But it's not always like that. And it's perfectly fine to go back and change your career later on. I know when I was in law school, there were many people that were significantly older than me that had been doing a career, and they're like, no, this is not for me. I want something different. I want to make more money, change my job. And they went back and, they were right there with me.
False money belief number 3, I can't save or build wealth until I am out of debt. Raise your hand if you either believe this or have heard this said or espoused throughout, personal finance media by gurus. Look.
Oh, I thought we were raising our hands because I've definitely seen it. And we definitely don't believe it.
No, not only do we not believe it, but it is just completely not. It's just not true. Just based on the numbers, based on the way personal finance works, being able to invest when you have lower interest debt, you can grow your wealth faster. And if you want anecdotal evidence, you can look at our net worth updates over the past 3 years now. We have had debt this whole time, and our net worth increases by, like $100,000 in 2018, $200,000 in 2019, because what happens is as you start to save, the growth in your savings outpaces even what you put into it once your nest egg gets large enough. I don't know where the idea came from exactly, but there are 2 really important points to know. First is that if you have low interest debt and you're able to invest your money and earn a higher interest rate, then you're going to build wealth faster. And then secondly, it's knowing that the earlier you start saving, the easier it is to hit your savings goals. I think people assume that they can always catch up, but they never actually crunch the numbers to understand how much more they're going to have to save because they spent 2, 3, 4, even 5 years or more focusing on debt payoff instead of investing in their own financial security and future.
I think it's really important here to remember how debt and savings works. So savings, you get the return over time, and so it starts to go up, I guess, depending on how you're looking at us, except that way.
I think you can do this. That's fine.
And then debts, assuming that you're budgeting correctly and you're not increasing your debts over time, that you are making all the payments that you need, they are designed to go down. And so even if they're high interest and we don't even have to make that debate over whether you should be paying those off faster or not, as long as you're paying the minimum payments over time, they will be paid off. And then if you're saving, then you will end up with savings, and then you will have no debt.
The arm things confuse me. I'm not even going to lie. But I'm sure you guys get what Joseph is saying.
Debts go down to zero.
Savings go up. But for savings, debts are designed to go down, but for savings to go up, you actually have to save. So do not wait until you are debt-free to start saving. Last thing on this, which is that having savings gives you a financial cushion. Being debt-free is great, but if you don't have any kind of liquid savings, if a financial emergency happens, you'll end up right back in debt. Versus if you have savings, it's possible to not go any deeper in debt, even if a financial emergency hits. And that's why it's so important to have a savings.
Okay, number 4, believing that you can't stick to a budget. This is not true because you don't really have a good budget yet if you believe that. We have a 1-year spending plan, and the reason that it works is because it is us deciding what we want to spend money on. It's an affirmation of this is how we live, these are our priorities, this is what we want to do. And that is how budgets work. It's a spending plan.
If you don't have a 1-year spending plan, you know that we have a free one you can get over at onebighappylife.com/budget. But one of the important things that you'll see when we do our 2020 budget, which should come out in another week or 2, we talk about what we want our lives to look like. And we've been talking about that for years. And so our budget has changed over time because we're committed to knowing what we want our lives to look like and then taking action in our lives that allow us to earn up to include the lifestyle things that we want to have versus traditional notions of personal finance, which is, well, this is the bucket I have to work with and this is all that I have to work with. It's like, no, how can you adjust your life and create a budget that allows you to have what you want so that budgeting comes naturally to you. It's not a struggle. It's 100% in alignment with your vision for your life. And we'll be talking more about how to budget in an upcoming video because it's the end of the year and it's time to do your 2020 budget.
Another thing that you might be telling yourself is that you don't do personal finance well because you are not a numbers person. Well, I've got news for you. That is false. No one is born a numbers person. There's like, oh, this baby, definitely a numbers person. This one, no, they need to stick to writing. Nobody is like that. It just takes time to learn a new skill set, whatever it is, whatever you want to learn. And so all it takes is getting comfortable with budgeting, comfortable with the terms of personal finance, comfortable with looking and working with those numbers. And I guarantee you there is nothing in personal finance that is so complicated that it will take that long for you to grasp.
Another thing that you might be thinking is that you can either make money or be happy. Because we have this idea that in order to make more money or to make enough money, that you have to work harder, longer hours. And that's just not true. There are definitely ways to make more money without having to work harder or work longer hours. And there are a couple ways to do that, one of which is to increase your skill set. So yes, you're doing more complicated work, but it's not like suddenly, it's the work itself is so much more demanding, like the work environment. Or, of course, you can do something like start your own business where you get to decide how much money you make and what type of work you actually do.
Yeah, and we've talked a number of times about when people are in a job where they think like they can't make more money. We've talked to them and said, well, hey, there are definitely people in that exact same field making the kind of money that you want to be making, doing that same thing. So there's always those options out there.
Yeah, I mean, when we were both working day jobs, when we first got into the workforce, we were making $60,000 a year each. And we more than doubled our incomes over the course of our working lives. And Joseph's working life is still continuing, so his income is still increasing.
Yeah, your working life is dead.
But it's like but we also focused on lifestyle. So, I mean, some people call it unicorns, but I think that there are so many more businesses out there where you can work a 40-hour week and have, some perks where you can work at home several days a week or even be 100% remote. It's all about finding those jobs and honestly being upfront and saying that this is something that we as employees demand from our employers so that employers know that their workplace rules need to change to accommodate the changing demands of the workforce that's going to keep that company going.
And it's not just the changing demands, but there is science that really supports that flexibility in a workplace is actually more productive and keeps employees wanting to work there and staying there longer. So it's not just, employees' preference that they work from home or have flexibility and, it's actually hurting the company. No, it actually helps having this.
Yes.
So, it's really win-win.
And I've seen articles where places that did cut back on those flexibilities and ability to work from home did not get any increase in productivity or output from their employees. And in fact, will have more employee turnover because their employees are going to the companies that are offering the benefits that they're looking for. So don't think that your choice is to either make money or, have to work hard and slog and hate your day job. You absolutely can do both, whether it's through a day job or starting your own business.
You can absolutely not make money and work hard.
Honestly.
You want to converge the other way.
Yes, what I meant was you can totally make really good money, make more money without having to sacrifice your non-work life in order to make more money. That is what I meant.
Okay, now that we have dispelled these beliefs, we know that you're going to just be killing it, building wealth in 2020. And so let us know in the comments how you are going to be building wealth now.
All right, see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
We'll be chilling and having a good time.